to be able to just make a choice on your own and just be able to speak for yourself.
This one's wife. They are really not hugely popular here. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The faux royal tour that has taken place in Nigeria with Prince Harry and this one's wife has provided us with a wealth of information and footage and instances to enable me to dissect it for you to understand more about this one's wife's narcissism in action. 3 days of swanning around, 3 days of wearing some clothing which wouldn't be deemed appropriate, 3 days where there has been the unrelenting glare of the world's television cameras and media, print and digital, scrutinizing and reporting on the activity of this one's wife. It's a huge fuel fest for this one's wife as a narcissist. She has received the appreciation, the courtesy, the admiration of many of the individuals that she has met. It's certainly not the case that she has been thronged in the way that Diana, Princess of Wales, would have been, or, for instance, a papal visit. Nevertheless, there has still been plenty of fuel for her to obtain, both in terms of positive fuel, where people have been pleasant to her, have given her gifts, have spoken well about her, have cheered her, have clapped her, and plenty of challenge fuel also, in instances where there has been criticism directed towards her. It also is noteworthy that there has not been a press pack that has been able to follow them around, because since this was supposedly not a royal tour, although of course we know that this one's wife and Harry have portrayed it as such, they chose their own media to follow them around. One reporter and arse-licker extraordinaire Meghan Harriman, one of the most thin-skinned men on the planet, following them around, taking lots of pictures and orchestrating videography also. The Netflix team have been in attendance because, after all, this wasn't about Invictus. It was all about getting filmed footage for this one's wife and Harry to use for some form of Netflix documentary, which will send most people to sleep, but is an attempt to get a further tranche of funding from Netflix. It's also provided an opportunity to understand more about the way that they have been seen, perhaps less obviously. And Ian Gallagher reports for the Mail that on a humid open-air basketball court on the fringes of Nigeria's capital, a local cameraman is beseeching the Duchess of Sussex to look down his lens. "Royalty," he shouts. "Come on, royalty, look this way." Now, you wouldn't have thought that this one's wife would need any encouragement whatsoever to look down a camera lens. Crowded by well-wishers, this one's wife winces at the pesky photographer's protocol-busting impudence. Notwithstanding that the Sussexes' non-royal visit to Africa's most populous nation is, in fact, really rather regal, had nobody told him that the couple cut ties with the House of Windsor ages ago. Now, it's interesting that the reporter states that this one's wife winced. Why would she do that when somebody's giving her attention? Well, it's because she perceives that she's being told what to do. This individual is shouting, "Come on, royalty, look this way." Remember, this one's wife is the doer. She's not the done to. She decides where she looks. You don't tell her where to. And therefore, this individual, apparently telling her, or at least that's how she perceives it, what to do, offends that need for control. The 42-year-old ignores his entreaties and instead chats to a little girl in a princess dress who is presenting her with a bunch of red roses. "Royalty!" the snapper cries again. By now, he is little more than an arm's length from the Duchess. This time the girl looks up and all becomes clear, for it was to her, not this one's wife, he was actually appealing. She is Royalty OJ, the 6-year-old daughter of the chief executive of a Nigerian charity working in collaboration with Harry's Invictus Games Foundation. This was a day when not everything about the Harry and This One's Wife roadshow was quite as it seemed. Take the welcome they received when they arrived here, an army sports complex in Abuja, for a volleyball match. Nobody squealed with excitement louder than a group of banner-waving women in identical black and yellow dresses. Surveying the scene, one of Harry and This One's Wife's US aides hailed the Great Reception, adding the couple were having an awesome time. But who exactly were the noisy women? After all, the public were not invited to this event. Like so much of the visit, it was supposed to be private, just military bigwigs, dignitaries, and their families. Naturally, this is interesting because it shows the control that This One's Wife wants to have, and also that ultimately the public really don't matter that much. Yes, they're advantageous for facade management and fuel, but she's not reliant upon them for fuel, and it's easier to control dignitaries, and there is the greater possibility of laying her hands on that thing that she loves the most, money. It transpired, the report continues, that the selfie-hunting women were by no means typical of the general public, but formed the Abuja branch of the Sussexes squad, a group of super fans who have been known to launch online attacks on those who criticise the California-based couple. To these women, This One's Wife is someone upon whom they can fasten their hopes, a belief bolstered by her declaration that she is 43% Nigerian. One of them, civil servant Lizzie Ben Iheanacho, aged 59, says, "She is one of us, and that makes us feel so inspired." When asked about her thoughts on Catherine, Princess of Wales, she says, "Catherine who?" Laughing, she adds, "That's what I think about her." Sums up the attitude of those morons. Her friend, Akingbi Tulupe, 32, has followed This One's Wife's life and career since 2009. Like many in Nigeria, she was a fan of the TV drama Suits. She says, "We knew of her long before she got involved with Harry. Suits was much more popular here than in England. Well, that wouldn't be difficult. I named my daughter in her honour." In a nod to her heritage, the Duchess wrote in a visitor's book at the Nigerian Defence Headquarters, "With gratitude for the support of the Invictus community and for welcoming me home. Character trait acquisition, grandiosity, revision of history." However, she discreetly ditched a scarf in Nigeria's green and white colours yesterday after being presented with it only 2 minutes earlier, once again demonstrating her rudeness. It clashed dramatically with her £2,275 striped Joanna Ortiz sundress. Or perhaps more accurately, Joanna Notitz. News of This One's Wife's Nigerian ancestry, which he is hoping to explore further during the trip, is said to have come as a surprise to her father, Thomas Markle, who considers his daughter 100% Californian. Whether she will meet any long-lost cousins in Nigeria remains to be seen. Answer, no, she didn't. One wag, watching Harry high-fiving fellow competitors during yesterday's sitting volleyball match, noted that, had we not known better, he might easily be 43% Californian. It was a thought that the King's son did little to dispel on Friday while talking about mental health at a school in Abuja. He was dressed head to toe in beige and beads, looking for all the world like the leader of one of the Golden State's emotional healing retreats. He found himself in more of his old self in a polo shirt and jeans. He was cheered on by his wife, but his team, Nigeria Unconquered, were beaten 25-21 by CDS, representing the Chief of Defence Staff, who invited the Sussexes to Nigeria. Both teams included war wounded, some of them amputees. On the Duke's team was the former Nigerian soldier peacemaker Azug Bulam, who lost his leg in combat against Boko Haram. He became the first African to win gold at the Invictus Games last year. Afterwards, the couple were ushered into a side room where they changed before a lunch with the Nigerian Chief of Defence Staff, Christopher Musa, followed by a reception which included performances from drummers and traditional dancers, as well as remarks from various officials. Dr. Ibike Dabiri Arewa, chairwoman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, shared her delight at the Duchess's heritage. She drew applause from guests when she explained, "Princess This One's wife is a Nigerian," and she admitted that when she first heard the news it wasn't a shock. "I was excited but not surprised. Because she is beautiful, intelligent, diligent and hard-working, and she stands firm in the midst of challenges. Prince Harry, you married the best, our daughter, our friend Princess This One's wife. I hope you come back again, again and again. Princess This One's wife, you married the best man." High praise indeed, which will of course have delighted This One's wife to receive such positive fuel. I dare say, however, that Dr. Ibike is going to be left disappointed, as you won't see her coming back again, again and again. For all that it has been called a quasi-royal tour, and for all that there have been moments, or rather there have been reports of the couple being mobbed, it has in many ways been rather low-key. But then, why bring your own media entourage, comprising favoured correspondents? Certainly, the Nigerian media has not been exactly gushing. News from the first day of the couple's visit made the front page of just one of 7 of its newspapers. That would not please This One's wife, were she made aware of it. They are really not hugely popular here. A lot of people don't know about them, says Kingsley Jeremiah, Deputy Bureau Chief of The Guardian, Nigeria. Such an observation amounts to challenge fuel, to remind This One's wife that she isn't hugely popular, and in actual fact a lot of people don't know about them. This One's wife, through her self-absorbed grandiosity, believes everybody knows who she is. Mr. Jeremiah continued by stating, "Their visit is happening at the time when most Nigerians are facing economic challenges and are more concerned about getting enough to eat. If they were more popular, you'd see a lot of Nigerians trying to catch a glimpse of them." This tells us several things. 1, obviously, they're not particularly popular. 2, once again, This One's wife fails to read the room, or rather, read the country. She swans into a country, wandering around, pretending to be a royal, when people have much greater concerns than meeting someone who's cosplaying at being a royal. One of the most important observations that this article contains is as follows. The state governments and the military hosting This One's wife and Harry have been unable to pay staff salaries. So spending state resources on this kind of visit is something to really be bothered about. The masses are really worried. Inflation is going very high. The cost of living is not what it used to be for a lot of families. It seems to be dignitaries turning out for them, not ordinary people. This is a telling observation. The masses aren't interested. Not only are these two people not particularly interesting of themselves, but moreover, the masses have got much more pressing problems than seeing a white man and his wife coming into their country and swanning around. Rather, it's the dignitaries that are utilising it as an opportunity to spend some time with the gruesome twosome, perhaps to make themselves look good. Spending other people's money, sound familiar, for the purposes of self-aggrandizement. What you have here is an individual in This One's wife who claims to be empathic, who claims to be compassionate, who claims to be caring. Now, she will not be fully familiar with the way that Nigeria spends its money, but you might have thought that an advisor would have told her, not only are you putting yourself in a very dangerous country, but you're also swanning around receiving gifts, causing them to incur expenditure when there are many people who are in a financial problem. That's not a good look. Naturally, This One's wife would not care. That's because the visit is about her, and with Harry tagging along. She doesn't think about how it looks, because she never thinks ahead. All she cares about is having an opportunity to make herself look good, to wear different items of clothing, to be filmed and photographed, and to be received by people. It won't have crossed her mind that the bulk of individuals that they met are dignitaries, and that there weren't huge crowds to meet them. The less than impressed school children were wheeled out, giving it the side eye as if to say, "You're telling me she's 43% Nigerian? Balls to that." The various members of a football team seemed singularly disinterested when the gruesome twosome turned up. In many of the pictures, the facial expressions of those around them shows that they're not particularly interested in Ginge and Whinge. And once again, you can see that they are not hugely popular, because it isn't the people that have turned out to see them, barring a few members of the Sussex squad, but it is dignitaries who are in it for themselves also. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.